Our next speaker is Pardiss Kebriaie. She's a staff attorney with the Center for Constitutional Rights, where she works on their Guantanamo Global Justice Initiative. She represents a number of men at Guantanamo and coordinates the pro bono attorneys who do that work, and we're really happy that she's here today. Thank you, Pardiss.
Thank you, Frida. I want to start by saying thank you to all of you who've shown up here today. I was walking, trying to find this group, and I saw the orange, and it was really overwhelming, really powerful. Really powerful to see all of you here, still here. I didn't think we would be here 8 years after Guantanamo first opened, but we are. We're angry, but your support means more to our clients than anything that I could go down and tell them right now about the situation in Washington. I have gone down. I have to go down next month to see a client whose name we're holding up right now, Jamel Mezian. I don't know what to tell him about why he's still in prison. I've gone down with good news many times. I was there in June of 2008 when the Supreme Court again established his right to challenge the lawfulness of his detention in federal court. I said, hold on, I know you've been here for years, but finally you're going to have your day in court. We're going to challenge your detention. I've seen the classified evidence against him. I have no doubt that he would be exonerated by a court if his case actually reached the point of being reviewed by a federal court. And you will be out. Hold on. I know it's been a long time. I know you've had more patience than anyone could endure in your situation, but hold on. I went back in November of 2008 after the elections. Obama had won. There was a lot of hope down in Guantanamo. I said, hold on, we've got a new president. He campaigned on a promise to close Guantanamo. It's almost over. The end is almost here. I was there in January of 2009 when the inauguration was going on. I watched the inauguration from a subway station during lunch between client meetings. I watched President Obama take the oath, and I felt hope. I felt a lot of things watching that after having come back from a really tough meeting with the client, but I felt a lot of hope watching him. And I told my clients again, he's president, he has issued this executive order to close the prison. Second day in office he did this. It's almost over. We're almost there. I don't know what to tell him, my clients, Jamel, going down in February of 2010 about why he's still in detention. I feel a lot of anger, a lot of disappointment, but people like you and this display of support is encouraging to me, and it's motivating, and I want to channel all of the feelings that we have right now into positive energy to educate the public in a way that the administration and President Obama have not, about who we are holding in Guantanamo. The sweeping generalizations about dangerous terrorists are unrecognizable to me when I think of the men that I've sat across from, had lunch with, talked with about their families, wept with. This is a president who has the skill and the talent and has shown that he can educate the public about controversial, tough issues. He has not done that, so it's up to us to teach the public about who we're holding in Guantanamo, talk about facts that are out there but have gotten lost in this hysteria recently about recidivism rates and dangerous men, all of whom are at Guantanamo. Talk about the fact that over half of 198 people being held in Guantanamo have been approved by this administration after reviews that it calls careful, comprehensive, interagency reviews to leave the prison. Over half of 198 men are in that position. Of 39 habeas corpus cases that have gone to federal court, 31 have resulted in decisions in favor of the detainee. That's a federal United States judge looking at the classified evidence that you can't see, that I can't talk to you about, but reviewing that evidence and finding that that person's detention is unlawful. It's over 560 people who have been released by now, the vast majority of whom have not taken up violence, have not joined or rejoined any fight, who are in the process of trying to rebuild their lives. We don't hear about them. We hear about the scattered one or two or handful whose facts are ambiguous, whose names are not named. Those are the reports that are resurfacing and recirculating conveniently right around the time of controversial transfers again. So those are the facts we have to get out again. We've got to keep up our energy and continue to educate the public and push for the end of Guantanamo. I have a letter here from a client who actually is one of the more positive stories about Guantanamo. He was released in August, and I can't talk about the details of who he is because he fears for his safety, because he still carries the stigma of Guantanamo. He's in a European country. He's trying to reintegrate. He wants to protect his privacy. He doesn't want to be known forever as the Guantanamo detainee. So I'm not going to name his name. I'm not going to tell you where he is, but I talked to him yesterday, and I asked him if you had something to say to the President of the United States and the American public, what would you say? And he wrote me this very short letter. English is not his first language. He wrote it in English so that I could bring it here and read it to you today, and I'm going to read it. He says, I have been released, but I'm still among those suffering in Guantanamo, which could not be called anything except a jungle or collective graves, but which the American government calls a prison for terrorists. I am among those victims who are still away from their children, their families, their parents, and others, even after 8 years, who are still living under mistreatment, abuse, beatings, forced feedings, isolation, deprivation of the smallest of rights, such as a toothbrush, whose religion has been humiliated, and who have suffered so many things which even 1,000 pages would not be enough to fill. The people I knew in Guantanamo who I lived with had nothing to do with what the American government has said about them. They are peaceful, innocent people who just want to be free and live their lives, marry, have children, and build their lives as anyone else would want, and to rejoin their families. There were people there I knew who were over 60, who couldn't even walk. There was a person there over 90. There were many juveniles. One of the men I knew was blind. These are the people of a jungle who the U.S. calls terrorists. To the American government, I ask you to release my brothers who have done nothing wrong. These people who were paid to the Pakistanis for $5,000 like I was. Look at them as human beings who have children and families. At least give them their full rights until they are released. I left Guantanamo with heart and chest problems, an ulcer, mental problems, a broken nose from being beaten in my interrogations, and in the end I was told, you are innocent and you can leave. What can this word give me back after I've lost 8 years of my life? And to the people of this world, I have known the men in Guantanamo, and I have known their suffering, and I myself have had nightmares for 8 years. Someone finally extended his hand to me, and I was released. This is the time for you to extend your hands to the people left. They have families waiting to see their smiles after 8 years. So I hope that's motivating for all of us. It certainly is for me. Thank you again very much.
So let's extend a hand to Pardiss for her work, for being a face of America, the kind of face we want to have there at Guantanamo, and also a hand to Steve Truitt, who's a lawyer here representing Hani Abdullah from Yemen, and a round of applause and a lot of appreciation to both of them and to all of the lawyers who are doing this work. Thank you so much.